Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Poe, and today I'm going to be doing a try a chapter reading challenge focusing on my Lovember romance reads. I've got 7 books checked out from the library right now that are physical romances. So I've got 2 paranormal, 3 retellings, and 2 fantasy romances, and I just don't know where to start. So I thought it would be fun to read a chapter from each and then kind of rank them for what I'm most in the mood for. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend this afternoon doing that and checking in with you. Also, it is winter and there are some definite light changes, so excuse those as those happen and maybe I have to move depending on how the light is. But yeah, I'm excited to try these books, so let's go ahead and start reading. Okay, so I have read the first chapter in both of the paranormal romances, so I wanted to talk to you about them and what I'm thinking so far. So the first one I picked up is A Ghost in Shining Armor by Therese Beharrie, and this is a contemporary where in the prologue, which is what I read, upon her 18th birthday, the heroine gains the ability to see ghosts, and in this world it seems like the ghosts are sent to her almost with maybe quests or things that they're supposed to accomplish. And based on the back of the book, it sounds like later on in adulthood, there's going to be a ghost that comes to her and he has the challenge of helping her reunite with an estranged sister, and that might get him a second chance at life. But he can't be in contact with her if that happens, so kind of adds a romantic tension there. So this prologue is actually really something that was drawing me in. It's got a lot of humor, and the humor was clicking with me very well. Humor is such a hit and miss thing, but I was really liking that, so I'm super interested in continuing on with that one. The other one that I picked up is Witchful Thinking by Celestine Martin. This is also a contemporary, and in this we follow a woman who is a witch, and her family are all witches, her grandmother, her sisters, etc. And also it seems like, although this is the contemporary world, there are other magical beings as well, and either she and magical people can see them and it's totally normal, or maybe everybody can see them. I'm not quite sure yet. This one is based on the back of the book, about her kind of reuniting with a high school crush who is temporarily back in town, and her trying to help him out with some magic stuff, but obviously also being interested. This one, the first chapter is I think it's got some humor, but it's a little bit snarky for me, and also it's got some angst. Like, she's just a little bit anxious about stuff, a little bit worried about things, dealing with feeling not like she's sure where she's going in life, that kind of thing. I'm not positive this is so much hitting the tone of what I'm interested in right now, but it definitely was well written and an interesting premise and an interesting world. So that's what I think about that so far, and we will go ahead and pick up now the retellings and see how those are working out for me. Okay, so I have read the first chapter / prologue in 3 more books. These 3 are the retellings, so I wanted to check in with you about them. The first one is By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling set in kind of modern day New York, where the heroine is an editorial assistant at a publishing house, and she ends up getting an opportunity to advance her career by going to this kind of reclusive author's house in order to get him to actually write his next book. So I read the prologue and first chapter in this, and it's actually really funny. So I loved the contrast between the prologue and the first chapter. In the prologue, it's when she first gets her job and she's so chipper and upbeat and excited. It's her first day of work and she's so happy. And then the first chapter is 2 years later and she's just like started to get a little bitter. She wants career progression. So the tone of this is really fun. I'm really enjoying it. It also seems like it's going to be having some commentary about like social issues because she's one of the only women of color in this publishing house. And yeah, so I'm just really kind of excited by this one. It sounds like a lot of fun. The second one I picked up is West Side Love Story by Priscilla Oliveras, and this is a modern day retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but set in like San Antonio, with two rival mariachi families who are, you know, trying to compete against each other. And it starts at a New Year's Eve kind of like club party where everybody's dancing, and the hero and heroine sort of meet each other and they share a New Year's Eve kiss, but then sort of separate. It also starts with just one page of sort of a poem that is very much like the style of Shakespeare for, you know, Romeo and Juliet, for what this book is going to be about. And I thought that was really cool, although the rest of the book, I mean, it's just a normal novel. I was really enjoying the writing, really enjoying also the main character. So the heroine, unlike Juliet, is 29. She's a nurse. She's also just somebody who's really focused on being responsible and taking care of her younger sisters and all these sorts of things. So I'm really liking her. And the chemistry between her and the hero was right away just so strong. So yeah, I'm very much interested in continuing this one as well. And then the third one is What Souls Are Made Of by Tasha Suri. And this is a historical fiction retelling of Wuthering Heights. And this is the one that I was like most unsure of when I made my TBR, because Wuthering Heights is a book that I have tried to read before and DNF'd every single time. And everything I've heard about it is way too much melodrama, not something that I'm gonna enjoy. But it's Tasha Suri and I love her writing, so I wanted to give it a try. And I think that, one, I'm mistaken about this being a romance. Like, I think that there are romantic elements, but I think this is more of a literary fiction rather than romance genre, at least by the tone in this first chapter. Obviously, I like her writing, so I definitely like that, but it may not actually be a romance. So I may choose to pick that up, but not for Lovember. We'll see. I might just read it anyway, because I definitely like the writing. It is a little melodramatic, though, so we'll see. Okay, so I finished reading the last two books that I wanted to get to. The first was A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. So this is a political fantasy male-male romance that is about a nobleman who gets married off to a nobleman in another country in order to secure some political alliances. And the first chapter has this very much kind of fantasy political feel, but it also has a main character, is told from first-person narration, who's dealing with maybe a lot of anxiety and a lot of difficulties in his life. And it sounds like in this world that he's in, kind of being queer is not acceptable, and he he goes home to his father's estate to find out that he's been engaged to a foreign woman, but I think in the story he ends up getting married to a guy instead. And also I've heard that the second chapter in this has like some pretty intense content. So yeah, so this one has like really great fantasy vibes, or political fantasy, has that kind of beautiful world building. I'm loving the descriptions, but it might be a little bit emotionally heavy. The other one is A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland, I think. And this one is also a political fantasy that is a male-male romance, but this one starts a little bit lighter. And I think this one is a prince and his guardsman, something like that. I forget the exact details of what this plot is about, but the first chapter is the prince hanging out with his sister, and I really like the dynamic that he has with his older sister. She is the sultana, and she is giving him a little bit of a hard time. She's just had a baby, and he's really excited about that. I like their family dynamic, and there's also like political things going on that we're already hearing about, some counterfeiting of money and some like kind of political intrigue inside of the palace. So this one I think tone-wise is a little bit lighter, although the main character definitely has some anxiety that he's dealing with. So that one was a little bit better for me. So overall, the ranking that I have for all of these 7 books, in sort of the 7th place is Witchful Thinking. I like the premise of this and I like the world building, but the tone just wasn't quite what I was looking for because it was just a little bit too snarky and too much anxiety. Then at number 6, I've got What Souls Are Made Of, sorry for the glare, by Tasha Suri. This one I think maybe is not a romance, and also will be a little bit angsty. And then I've got A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows, where again, I think the tone is a little bit angsty and I want kind of lighthearted right now, but I'm liking the writing and I definitely want to read this one later. Then I've got A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland, and this one was definitely working for me. I was liking the tone, I was liking the characters. So yeah, so I'm definitely interested in picking this one up soon. Then I've got West Side Love Story by Priscilla Oliveras, and this one I think I was just so into the characters' dynamic, the chemistry that they had right away from the very first chapter. And I just love the premise, this mariachi band retelling of Romeo and Juliet. It might have a little bit more drama later on, but just that first chapter was so good. So I'm really excited to read this one. Then we've got, By the Book by Jasmine Guillory, and this one just had like a really funny prologue and first chapter. I like Beauty and the Beast retellings. I like all that sort of stuff. It just sounds like this one's going to be lighthearted and fun. And then I think my top one, the one that I'm going to start with, is A Ghost in Shining Armor by Therese Beharrie. And this one, it was just, the writing was really funny. It was really clicking with me. And the idea of like a paranormal romance with a ghost, I mean, that's a tough premise to deal with. And just, yeah, I don't know. This one was really calling to me, even though it was the very first one that I picked up. So I want to go ahead and pick this one up and get started on this. Although truthfully, I kind of want to pick them all up. So it's just a prioritization so that I can choose what to pick up in case I don't quite get to all of them before they're due back at the library. Oh, and I did switch locations because maybe you noticed in my last clip, the sun was very much setting and it got dark while I was reading from these other books. And so I moved into here. I don't usually film in here, but it has a light, so I could turn it on at night. So yeah, so I'm excited to read these and I look forward to seeing like how they actually work out. First chapter is a hint to the writing style, but doesn't really tell you how you're gonna like the rest of the book. If you guys have read any of these, if you want to chat with me about them, anything like that, just leave me a comment in the description, in the comment down below. I'd love to hear from you.